The gentle chime of the wind outside mixed with the soft rustle of flower petals as you arrange a bouquet of deep red roses. His favorite, though he never said why he always chose them. You knew it wasn't for himself. The clock on the wall ticked closer to midnight, yet you stayed. You always did. Your phone buzzed with a message. Be there soon, don't lock up yet. A small smile touched your lips. You didn't know when it started, but the dangerous man everyone feared had become your entire world. Moments later, the door creaked open and there he was, Kim Taehyung, dressed in a black suit, his tie loose around his neck, dark brown hair damp from the rain. He looked exhausted, but the moment his eyes found yours, something softened. Still working this late? His voice was low and deep, sending strange comfort through you. Still wandering the streets like a lost boy, you shot back playfully, but your eyes lingered on his tired face. You look worn out, Taehyung chuckled but didn't answer. Instead, walked closer, running his fingers over a white lily on display. You know I like watching you work, he murmured. And you know I hate seeing you like this. There was silence for a moment, the kind that hung heavy but familiar. You were never meant to be part of the dark world Taehyung lived in, an ordinary girl with a tragic past. You had known pain and loneliness but never violence. After losing your parents in a car accident when you were only 16, you moved to the city to start over, alone and carrying a heart heavy with grief. The only thing that gave you comfort was flowers. You had always loved them, how delicate they were, yet still managing to bloom even in harsh seasons. That love led you to open your small flower shop, hoping to bring a little beauty to a world that often felt cold. Taehyung entered your life on a rainy evening, soaked and mysterious. You remember how he stood by the window quietly watching the roses with eyes that held too many secrets. You didn't know who he was, didn't know the name we that people feared. To you, he was just a lonely man buying flowers, and when you asked who they were for, he gave you a sad smile and said, someone I lost. You had no idea how much that loss had shaped him. Slowly, Taehyung kept coming back, always buying the same red roses, and you noticed little things. How he would watch you with unreadable eyes, how he would linger a bit too long as if he didn't want to leave, and how sometimes he looked like he wanted to say something but never did. At first, your relationship was simple, a customer and a florist, but over time, something fragile began to form. You became curious about him and he found comfort in your presence, in the way you never judged, never asked too many questions. You would offer him coffee on cold nights and he would sometimes walk you home when you worked late. Taehyung had never met anyone like you, someone so gentle in a world so violent. Yet you always knew there was something dangerous about him. You saw the way his eyes darkened when his phone rang, the way he sometimes disappeared for days and come back with bruises hidden under his sleeves. But you never asked because you were afraid of losing him. And Taehyung, he was fighting a war within himself, torn between wanting to protect you from his darkness and wanting to be close to you because for the first time someone made him feel human again. Roses? You asked, picking up the bouquet. He nodded. Yeah, the usual. Who are they for? You whispered, knowing the answer would only tighten the knot in your chest. Instead of replying, he reached out gently, tucking a strand of hair behind your ear. Someone important. As you were about to wrap the flowers, a sudden crash shattered the peaceful moment. The front window of your shop exploded inward, glass raining over the flowers. Get behind me, Taehyung growled, immediately pushing you behind him, gun already drawn as four-armed men entered. From behind Taehyung, you could see a tall figure in a dark coat, Jinwoo, his rival. Long time V. Jinwoo sneered, his gaze then slid to you. So this is your little secret. Leave her out of this. Taehyung snapped, gun never wearing, Jinwoo smoked, pulling out his own weapon. Oh no, no, no. I think I have finally found your weakness. The famous we is in love. How pathetic. You take one step closer to her and I'll blow your brains out. The young voice was deadly calm. You trembled behind him. Taehyung, what's happening? He glanced back at you for a brief moment, his eyes softening. Stay close to me, Ryan. Don't move. She looks fragile, Ray. Jinwoo taunted. Wonder what she will think when she sees the real you. Without warning, Jinwoo fired a shot aimed right at Taehyung. No! You screamed. Taehyung shoved you to the floor, rolling with you as bullets flew over here. He held you tightly, shielding your body with his own. You okay? He whispered, brushing hair from your face. They will kill you. You cried, tears spilling. His hand cupped your cheek. Not if I kill them first. Slowly Taehyung rose, gun raised, eyes filled with fury. You crossed a line, Jinwoo. Oh, I haven't even started. Jinwoo smoked. Tell me, Taehyung, what's more painful, watching her die or knowing it's because of you? Taehyung fired, hitting one of Jinwoo's men square in the chest. Don't you dare touch her. Gunfire erupted in the shop, and you could only watch in terror as Taehyung fought like a man with nothing left to lose. His movements were precise, deadly, and yet there was desperation in every shot he fired, fighting not for himself but for you. When it was over, Jinwoo stood with the wounded arm glaring. You think this is done? You will regret falling in love, Wei. Try touching her again. Taehyung rolled, stepping between you and Jinwoo. I'll burn your entire empire to ashes. Jinwoo laughed coldly but left, knowing Taehyung meant every word. As he left, Taehyung called his men and told them to clean all the mess. Let's go from here, he said, putting his phone back. Look at my flower shop. It's completely ruined now, you said, looking around. Don't worry, I'll bought you a new one better than this, he said and grabbed your hand and we both left. Jinwoo, known as the Snake of the East, was evidently on despise, cunning, manipulative, and power-hungry. Unlike Taehyung, Jinwoo was born in the slums, raised by a single mother who was later killed in a gang war, a war started by Taehyung's father. From that moment, Jinwoo swore revenge against the entire Kim family. He clawed his way up from using manipulation, blackmail, and murder to gather loyal men and build his empire, while they ruled with fear and control. Jin thrived on chaos and destruction. He didn't care about honor or loyalty, only about rising to the top no matter how many bodies he left behind. One fine evening in your new and bigger flower shop, the soft scent of roses and lilies filled the air as you arrange a fresh bouquet behind the counter of your flower shop, the golden hues of the setting sun casting a warm glow through the glass windows. You were humming softly to your lost in the peaceful rhythm of your work when suddenly the bell above the door chimed. Before you could turn around, a strong hand clamped over your mouth, muffling your scream as you struggle against the iron grip. Panic surged through you as you realized it was Jinwoo, his cold breath whispering against your ear. Miss me, sweetheart. Without giving you a chance to fight back, Jinwoo dragged you through the back door. His men were waiting with a black car already running. Taehyung won't save you this time, he sneered, showing you into the car as tears stung your eyes. The last thing you saw before the door slammed shut was the bouquet you were working on, petals falling to the floor, a cruel reminder of the peace Jinwoo had just shattered. Taehyung pushed open the door of your flower shop, the soft chime of the bell overheard echoing into the empty space. But instead of being greeted by your warm smile, his eyes scanned the room and narrowed at the mess that greeted him. Shattered flower pots, scattered petals, and broken vases littering the floor. His heart dropped, a dark feeling coiling in his chest as he slowly stepped inside, taking in the signs of a struggle. Wyan, he called out, voice low but sharp, as if hoping you would answer from somewhere in the back. But the only reply was silence, heavy and suffocating. His hands curled into fists and his jaw clenched as realization dawned on him. There was only one name that came his mind, Jinwo. Without wasting another second, Deong pulled out his phone, his voice cold and commanding as he barked into it. Find Jinwo. I don't care how tracking him down now. His dark eyes scanned the wreckage one more time, fury burning deep within them. If he touches her, I'll make sure he begs for death. The calm, sweet man you knew was gone. Now only the monster remained, and nothing would stop him from getting you back. Taeyong's eyes darkened the moment he knew they have taken her. His jaw clenched so tight it looked like it might shatter, fury rolling off him in waves. Without wasting a second, he pulled out his gun from his jacket, loading it with a smooth, practiced precision. The entire room seemed to tremble under the weight of his anger, his men watching silently as their boss transformed into the cold, merciless monster he was known to be. Find out where as soon as possible. He growled low, his voice a deadly promise. But when Sam whispered he took her to his old hideout, Taeyong's lips curled into a dark. Then I'll bring her back, even if I have to burn that place to the ground. Kim Taeyong, known in the underworld as V, was not born a monster. He was born into a wealthy yet broken family, a family that controlled half of the city's underground empires. His father was a ruthless mafia king, and his mother was a fragile woman who died too young, leaving Taeyong to grow up in a home filled with violence, betrayal, and bloodshed. But what truly broke Taeyong wasn't just his family legacy, it was the brutal murder of his older brother, the only person who ever cared for him. His brother's death was a warning from rival gangs, and Taeyong watched helplessly as his world was ripped apart in a single night. After that, he hardened, vowing never to be weak again. Despite being known as a cold-blooded, calculating mafia boss who didn't hesitate to kill anyone who crossed him, Taeyong had one soft spot. You. You were the only person who didn't flinch when looking into his eyes, the only one who saw him as a man and not a monster. The first time he stepped into your flower shop, something about your kindness disarmed him. For a long time, he convinced himself to stay away, but you unknowingly became his peace in the middle of a bloody war. Whenever he was tired of our blood and pain, he came to you seeking the warmth he never found anywhere else. Yet no one knew that behind V's dangerous reputation was a man craving love, craving to be saved from himself, and you were that salvation. But Taeyong knew his enemies would use you against him if they ever found out how much he cared. So he fought the feeling silently, keeping you close, but never too close until Jinwoo crossed the line.